We'd like to invite you to the AmCham YouTube channel to view the podcast episodes prepared by our HR committee on what they view as the best practice model of selection. Of course, subscribe and like if you're new around there. These episodes are free to AmCham member organizations and will be released in April 2024. You will note that the HR committee relied on AmCham members who provide services, expertise, and training in all phases of the selection process to identify a best practices model that we hope you find useful. The HR committee self-funded most of the production costs, with AmCham covering the use of the podcast studios in the True Digital building. So thank you very much to everyone involved. We'd love to hear your feedback on these podcasts, of course, so that we can gauge the effectiveness and popularity of this communication medium and to provide useful content to our membership. We had looked at a number of HR-related business processes that we thought would benefit from a closer, more professional look. Our first topic, therefore, focused on what constitutes best practice in selection. We took a fresh look at the topic of selection, one that most of us use on a regular basis, but without much critical evaluation. Recent studies have shone a light upon the current practice in recruitment selection, as only a third of American companies check whether their recruitment process actually produces good employees. That is one of the striking revelations in a recent survey of hiring by Peter Capelli, Professor of Management at the Wharton School in Philadelphia. According to The Economist magazine, when companies are asked why they don't monitor the effectiveness of hiring, the most common response is that measuring employee performance is simply too difficult. There is a lack of faith in most performance management processes and outputs. Indeed, Searching Talent publication found 50% of all employee turnover occurs due to new hire failure. With these findings in mind, it may well be time to look at selection as a critical business process. And now over to Tom, who will share more information on our AmCham members survey.
Hi, I'm Tom Payne. I was the founder of the AmCham HR committee and been involved with the HR committee for a long time and been a past board member of the chamber as well. We were talking in the HR committee over the last year or so about what we could do to help the AmCham community and better understand its role and how it can improve in terms of the selection process. And as Richard told you, there's a lot of lack of faith in the selection process and performance management process in companies, and we're prepared these podcasts to help you understand that a bit more. Also, McKinsey had done some research on this, and they said that the selection process is one of the processes that companies really need to pay attention to because it's critically important to their success and the success of their companies and the success of their customer service and financial results. And most of the people are saying that you need to get away from the classic things we've looked at, like education, where they went to school, what they majored in, who they worked for, how long they worked for, what their job titles were, and to look more deeply at the competencies that they have developed over their history of work. And the other thing is that we found that the selection process generally employs either too few or too many people. By that, we mean that the sweet spot tends to be between 3 and 4 people who will interview the candidate, which means that it's usually the hiring manager and 2 or 3 of their immediate deputies. And then HR's role in that is they come in and they develop the hiring meeting, the candidate review session, and they facilitate that with the hiring manager's team. So McKinsey also identified that there were a number of areas. They said there were 7 areas for HR priorities. We're not going to deal with all 7 of those. We're primarily going to be talking about recruitment and selection and training and development. And but these are the 7 areas that McKinsey had looked at. And the final thing is, we really feel that selection process needs to be a priority for all of our AmCham companies. And it starts with the job analysis process, identifying competencies. From that, we prepare 3 or 4 separate interview guides for each of the interviewers. We train the interviewers how to conduct behavioral interviewing, and we teach them how to evaluate the level of competencies that they're seeing in the candidates. So in this setting, HR serves the role of the selection process owner. They're responsible for finding candidates. They're responsible for screening candidates. They're responsible for training the hiring manager's team and facilitating the candidate review meetings. And they also can play a role in conducting in the onboarding session to share with the candidate why they were hired with the hiring manager. So we tell them what competencies we're looking for and how we evaluated their level of competency and why that's going to help them succeed in their role. So we want you to please pay attention to the podcast series. There are 19 episodes that we've prepared. And as Richard said, we'll be introducing these in April of this year. And we wish you all the best and appreciate your kind attention and hope this leads to you doing a better job in selection. Thank you.